Okay, so I attended the regular TDSB board meeting on May 22nd, 2019. So the meeting started off with the national anthem and acknowledgement of the lands. From there was an approval of the agenda, which was then projected on two screens at the top, which I thought was kind of a nice touch for anyone who may have been hearing impaired. So they could see what they were talking about to an extent. As for closed captioning, it didn't seem like anything was available for that. So it'd be interesting to look more into the accommodation aspect of these meetings. So, one thing I want to mention before I get into the actual like nitty-gritty of the trustees and what they were doing was that they brought in a group from a school. They're called the Burundian Drummers. So it's just a different sort of like cultural drumming, which was very interesting and very enjoyable. I'm one who's really into music, so I definitely enjoyed it. And it kind of gave the whole meeting sort of a lighter vibe. When you're thinking of politics and government, it seems it could get kind of heavy, so it's nice to have that sort of nice, relaxing performance. So, as for the trustees themselves, so the organization of the meeting, everything that had to be said or spoken was done through the speaker themselves. So, if a trustee wanted to talk to another trustee, you could not do so directly. You had to do so through the speaker. I feel like this is a nice way of mediation. If anyone get a little heated, you're not directing it at the person specifically, although you may still show you're heated, but it's passed along through the speaker, which kind of diffuses some of the tension that may arise in government. If the speaker herself wanted to talk, what she had to do was transfer her power to another trustee. It was normally a trustee. It was a gentleman who sat next to her. I believe they are of like a higher trustee status. There was three of them at a head table, while everyone sat around them in sort of a circular formation. So, when thinking of the availability, like who can attend these meetings, there was a private section and a public section. So, obviously, the private section is just that it's private, so not anyone could just walk in and attend this private meeting. The public section, complete other way, anyone could walk in, it doesn't matter. Um, there was no delegations while I was there, to my knowledge. There were people from different boards, like the transportation, or just not boards, but different parts of the board in general. So uh, the head of transportation was there. It was a big debate about Catholic versus just public busing, and apparently that the public system is subsidizing the Catholic system, even though they're two separate boards. So that was a nice talk about that for a while. It seemed like the gentleman didn't really have anything to contribute, but that's it's a lot of pressure. I understand. So going back in now more so to the trustees' jobs themselves. So the trustees they're elected. I remember when I voted, I had to vote for a trustee who coincidentally got in and seemed to be doing a good job. So it's nice to kind of check up to make sure my vote wasn't going wasted. Um, However, do I think that trustees are an integral part? I do, and I don't. So I feel that if a trustee is elected and they're doing their job, they're going in, they're providing any concerns, they're talking, they're contributing, then yeah, of course it's integral. Discussion is definitely an important part in improving a law. However, I found like at least half of the trustees were sitting there on their cell phones and laughing and joking with each other all while this discussion was going on. I mean, I get, the meeting was quite long. It was 4 hours, but you're an elected I don't want to say official at a sense, but like you should be paying attention and contributing. That's the whole reason why you ran, is it not? Like, so I don't know. That kind of was irritating to myself and a few peers from what we saw. Next to that, I mean, the trustees who were doing their jobs, what they seemed to be doing was raising any concerns about the various regulations that they talked about. So, the one woman, she raised the point that one of the laws they were passing, I don't remember specifically which one it was. They're talking about the word effectively or diligently being in the law itself or the regulation. So she wanted to have it removed, and I feel rightly so. They feel like the board wasn't doing everything in their power to actually accommodate this regulation. So putting the word effectively is very misleading. So it ended up getting amended. The amendment was made right on the spot by a recorder. The recorder would go into the agenda and change everything so the public can see what's being changed. Next to this, the to get approved, they had to have two other trustees back them. So this was something that you saw a lot. If they wanted to participate but didn't really want to talk, they could back people who had the same opinion, which I think was a nice way of also getting them in. So yeah, as for conversation, they had 5 minutes to talk back and forth. There was actually a clock that would show how much time you had left. So everyone had a chance to speak. Um, all in all, what this really reminded me of is sort of like Parliament. Like when I had to do a Parliament trip when I was younger, MPs would be more so like our trustees. Like we elect both of them, and they both are required to participate. But it was nice to actually get down to the nitty gritty and see what's being talked about in the meetings and these people that we're electing and the government's paying what they are actually doing. So yeah, thank you for listening. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks.